everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club Podcast, your weekly animation discussion show. You can find episodes every week on the show's YouTube page, and if you like the show, subscribe and share it with your friends. Because that would be pretty rad.
Hey everybody, it's time for another Ink and Paint Club Podcast. It's that time again.
Is it?
I mean, Yes, it is. Anyway. Hey everybody, I'm your host JD, and with me as always is Kyle.
It's me. I'm back again.
Kyle?
As a regular.
Yeah, Kyle's back. For good this time, I hope. Kyle, I want to get you a t-shirt that says "It's me" on it. Because it's like your introduction catchphrase.
That's not my catchphrase.
What is your catchphrase then?
I don't know. The "It's me" thing will always remind me of Satan from Cow and Chicken.
Oh yeah. I should watch that show again. It was fucking weird.
It's pretty great. They had a whole carpet munching thing. And...
Sure did. A whole secret episode about lesbians. Oh,
truly
God.
ahead of its time.
Right. Well, so for this week's episode, South Park just wrapped up its 20th season recently. It might have been last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Time is an illusion to me. And it was interesting, to say the least. So Kyle and I are going to just talk about what happened on South Park and our general feelings. And then I have some other concerns on a related matter after that. So we'll get into it. So, Kyle, this season was weird.
Yeah.
It was... Okay, so I'll get into like the deeper part of this later, but for the last 2 seasons, South Park has gotten into the serialized storytelling thing that a lot of shows have been doing in the last couple years. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about it exactly, but last season felt like there was a through plot, but each episode felt individual. This season, however, like literally ran one right into the other, episode wise. Basically, the entire plot of the season consists of Kyle's dad being an internet troll, and that turns into this whole thing about everyone's internet history is going to be leaked online, and then there's some commentary about the presidential election, and then there's this thing called member berries that aren't fully explained, and J.J. Abrams, and it was a pile.
Yeah,
But,
basically.
Yeah, so let me get the episode list here. So, okay.
I've got it up here.
Right.
The weird thing... Oh, looks like they've been doing... Why'd they go from, like, doing 14 episodes to 10?
I don't know. They've been down to 10 for a while.
It's just so weird, because it, like... I don't know, it takes a whole year to fucking make 10, but then they do it in a week. And
because what they used to do a couple years ago is they would do, like, 7 in the spring and then 7 in the fall.
That's what I liked.
Which was fine, and and then they're like, okay, well, we're just going to do 10 in the fall and just take a break on certain weeks, which I think were generally for holidays. But, yeah, it was weird. Yeah, I don't know why they said they switched to 10. I think they said it just lightens the workload.
They were doing it season 16. Seems like the last time they did that.
Right.
Went from March to April, and then September to November.
Yeah.
I'd like that a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot easier, because then I would forget it was on. Like, I wouldn't know when South Park was coming back on, because it was only once a year. So I don't know, but I guess if it works for them, not to get burnt out, I guess. But all right, let's get into the nitty gritty of this. So there's only 10 episodes, so we can just go episode by episode and say our thoughts and such. So this the first episode here is almost right where the last season left off. Mr. Garrison's running for president. PC Principal is still a thing, which I think is like the best character they've had in years. I love PC Principal, and I'm sad that he wasn't in more of this season.
No, I think he was in like 2-3 episodes.
Yeah,
tops.
But I mean, the plot didn't really ask for him. But I loved how fucking obnoxious he is. Fucking
beating up students.
Fucking micro. I just love the running joke last season where he's yelling at that one girl just to shut up.
Yeah.
And she's never, or like the last time, she's not even doing anything. Leslie, shut your goddamn bio. That was great stuff. So yeah, it picks up right where last season left off. Garrison's running for president and all this stuff. And it's this first episode's kind of a commentary on when that football player whose name I don't know because I don't watch football was protesting the national anthem. And I guess they're like, all right, well, the national anthem is, it doesn't inspire anymore, so we need someone to reboot the national anthem because reboots are all the rage now. So they go get J.J. Abrams to reboot the national anthem. Because Star Wars was a big thing in the last year. So, that's a thing.
And it ended up being the same exact
thing.
It's
like, it's the thing they say. It's like, it's different, but exactly the same. Which is what...
But that's what everybody said about Star Wars. It was... And I'm seeing a lot of criticism on it. A lot of people liked it, and that's the diehard fans. Right. That's cool. You can like stuff.
I mean, I went and saw... Force Awakens, and I like it. I think it's a really good movie. I will fully admit that it's a complete retread of A New Hope, but
yeah,
that doesn't detract from me liking it. I am really excited to go see Rogue One this weekend. Me and my dad are going to go see it, so that'll be fun. See, that's the thing. Like, I listened to another podcast, and one of the hosts says it well. Is like, I just want a Star Wars movie that isn't about space wizards. So that's what Rogue One looks like. It's like, I want an actual war film in Star Wars, not a political drama with space wizards.
I don't know, man. I don't give two shits and a piss about Star Wars.
It's all good. Can't all like the same thing. But
I know, but it's just so like, it's been around forever. Everybody likes it. It's such, I'd hate to say it, it's such like a normie sci-fi thing to like.
Oh no, I gotcha. I mean, I'm not like a diehard Star Wars fan. Like, I mean, I watched the prequels as a kid. My mom had a VHS of Phantom Menace, so I watched that more times than I care to admit. And I like Star Wars. If it's on TV, I'll sit and watch Star Wars. But it's like, I don't go to fucking Star Wars conventions. I do like watching Star Wars Rebels. That's a good show. But anyway,
the only thing I took from episode 1 was I like Sebulba a lot.
Sebulba
I liked
was
his
cool.
design.
Yeah, the pod racing was the best part, and that's why I bought episode 1 Racer for the 64, and that's a great game.
That was a fun game.
I love it.
But anyways,
oh yeah, so the rest of the episode was so for reasons that are never, well, they are explained, but I don't feel it's a good explanation, is that for some reason Kyle's dad decides to become an internet troll.
The only explanation is just because it's funny.
Because it's funny. But it's weird. I mean, I don't think it's actually Kyle's dad until the next episode, but this whole season is like revolves around Kyle's dad being an internet troll because he thinks it's funny. But none of his character up until that point led him to like that he would do like that kind of thing.
I think it was a big social commentary on the sense that basically anybody can do it. Whenever someone feels like they're trolled online, they're like, oh, well, they live in their mother's basement and they're fat and ugly and that kind of stuff. And I feel that was it. And I think they might have even explained that too. He's got a good job. He's got a happy life. and all this kind of stuff, but he's just kind of a dick because he wants to be. But people have this misconception, just kind of like the whole thing with, I hate to bring it up, but the whole thing with the Ghostbusters movie, everybody was mad, and everybody's just like, oh, well, these fat nerds can't get laid and all this kind of stuff. We have this preconception of what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean, is I think it was just a commentary on that. Basically, anybody can be an asshole online.
Yeah. And now that you say that, it kind of, because I completely forgot about this, I think I might take back my statement, because I remember last season they did that whole episode where he became a Yelp reviewer. So yes. I think that was maybe an introduction to, like, maybe that's where he started, because he became like really smug about it, about being a Yelp reviewer, until everybody became a Yelp reviewer.
Whoa. There's like way early seasons where he got the hybrid car or something, right. And he was a smug asshole about it too.
I don't know. It just seemed like it became too mean. He became too mean-spirited for, like, I felt like for no real reason. But I don't know. But you brought up the Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters.
They bring it up a couple times.
The whole controversy around it is kind of a plot point for this season, because they have this whole, like, battle between the boys and the girls at school, and it's mostly Cartman is basically saying girls can be smart and funny, get over it, which is more or less what Paul Feig said to all the Ghostbuster haters.
It comes off so sarcastic.
It does
when he says it, and it's hilarious each time.
Right,
but depending on how you see it, it's just funny.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah, so in the next episode, it's like they're trying to figure out who the troll is, because the troll is, like, going on the school message board and photoshopping dicks in everybody's mouths, like you do. So all the boys are trying to figure out who it is, and they just logically assume it's Cartman. So they basically just take him out into the woods and just break all of his electronics so he can't be the troll anymore.
And I feel that was a good character development, because as far as he is as a character, he would have got revenge. Mm-hmm. He would have, like, done something really bad, but this season he didn't do anything.
Yeah, like, I feel like if there's one thing I can praise this season about, or for, is they actually really changed Cartman's character. Like you said, like, had this been any other season, Cartman would have, like, had, like, this entire huge revenge plot, but instead he, like, kind of shuts down, because, like, they kind of make this analogy where leaving Twitter is basically comparable to suicide. So basically, if you don't have Twitter or you're not on social media, you're basically dead to society.
Well, that was making fun of I don't know her name, Leslie Johnson, whatever.
I don't know.
The Black Ghostbusters lady.
Oh, right.
She left Twitter because of that, and that's what they were making fun of.
Oh, yeah, that does make sense now. But yeah, so basically Cartman doesn't have social media anymore, so he joins everyone else who doesn't have social media anymore, which happens to be this girl. I think Heidi was her name.
It's Heidi.
Yeah, Heidi, who got bullied off of social media, essentially. And Cartman actually has, like, an actual relationship for once, and that, like, kind of carries the whole season.
But yeah, through the whole season, knowing him and knowing his character, you're expecting it all to be disingenuous and everything. Mm-hmm. Even just how he talks, it comes off super disingenuous, but
right.
It never amounted to anything, which I think was kind of great.
Yeah. I mean, it's really nice to see him, like, have a genuine concern about things now, because, like, this whole season is I keep saying this whole season revolves, because it revolves around a lot of things. There's, like, a whole through plot where the country of Sweden gets trolled big time, so they're making this giant server farm website that you can look up anyone's internet history, and it's public now, And Cartman realizes that if his internet history gets out, then his girlfriend is gonna find out and, you know, break up with him. So he he starts panicking and like trying to find ways to Mars just to get away from it.
It was because he was talking shit about Ghostbusters.
Right. And it's like, cause he was even saying that girls can't be funny. But I just love that at every opportunity, he's like, anytime someone doesn't acknowledge that his girlfriend is smart and funny, he gets all pissed off about it.
Yeah.
That was great.
So going off on a little bit of a tangent.
Sure.
Did you hear they're making a Barbie movie?
I didn't.
So they're making, I think, a live-action Barbie movie. Something like that. Sony's not very good for making
I think you do.
good ideas. I don't know if you've noticed this, but Sony's not very good at making ideas as far as movies go. Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
That's all we gotta say. So guess who they're gonna pick to play Barbie?
Who?
Just take a wild thought. Who would make a perfect Barbie in live action?
Man, I don't know actresses. I don't know.
From what I've read, they've picked Amy Schumer to be Barbie.
Really?
I swear.
That's hilarious.
So I think that's kind of hilarious because he's just like, Amy Schumer's vagina.
Yeah.
Just fucking lose it.
Oh my god, that's actually pretty funny. I would probably go watch that.
It's fucking retarded. It basically sounds like the Disney Channel movie Life Sized with Tyra Banks mixed with Enchanted?
Yeah. I forgot about that.
It sounds like a mix between those two movies, and it's like, it's already been done before. Come on, guys. But anyways, yeah.
So yeah, the season goes on, and Gerald's still being a troll, Kyle's dad, and that kind of leads to like the girls think that the boys are being the trolls or Cartman's being the troll or whatever. So it kind of starts to bring this rift between them. And I get it, like Butters basically becomes a men's rights activist. But just like whipping his dick out in protest all the time. It's fucking
but he can because it's a protest.
Right.
Nobody's gonna bring up anything.
I do like the one time the PC principal called him out on it. He's like doing it in the middle of an assembly. PC principal just tells him to sit the fuck down. It's like, now's not the time. Sit the fuck down.
But yeah, go on with it. Enough of the tangents. Let's wrap this up here.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm reading these plot descriptions, so I'm trying to remember. Because goddamn, it started all the way back in September. So I'm trying to remember these earlier episodes.
I don't even know where I was working in September.
Oh jeez. So at some point, Kyle's dad goes and meets up with like this legion of other trolls, and it is the most disgusting group of people you can think of. The fucking nerd from the World of Warcraft episode is even there, and I'm sad that they still have not given him a name. And he doesn't say anything.
That's weird.
He's just in the background.
Oh, that's true. He didn't have any lines.
But yeah, they're still. I mean, I haven't even gotten to the point. Gotten to Mr. Garrison's whole subplot, because basically, instead of having Donald Trump being in South Park, they basically what's the word I want to
They basically transformed him into
right. They basically use Mr. Garrison as a stand-in for Donald Trump instead. Like as the season goes on, they start putting orange face paint on him. They give him a blonde wig. They give him surgery so he can do that weird Donald Trump face.
Well, they did have the Canadian guy. Their leader was him. In a sense,
right, yeah.
Like,
I forgot about that last season. They had a Canadian Donald Trump, but they're like, we never thought it would actually happen. It was just a huge joke.
I don't even remember if it was this season or last season.
I think it was last season.
Okay.
Because like last season is when Donald Trump was all like wanting to get rid of all the Canadians, and then they went up to Canada and they met Canadian Donald Trump, who had basically ruined Canada and made it like a wasteland. Oh, jeez.
Man, I don't remember.
Right.
I'll have to watch it again.
Right. But then.
But
you and I were talking earlier today, and this is kind of where South Park being a week to week made show and predicating itself on being topical is that a lot of the plot strings seem like they were leading up thinking that Hillary Clinton was actually going to win the presidency.
Yeah, I just feel like they really shit the bed on it because they were not expecting it. And I don't know if it ruined the season because like so many things were brought up and then never brought again. It was like forgotten.
Yeah.
And the whole season that just happened right now, there's still like a bunch unanswered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it happened last season too. A lot of people were expecting like is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen? Nothing happened from it.
Right.
The whole thing was a lot of people wanted that season to end as a big ad for their video game.
Oh, yeah.
They thought that would have been funny. I think that would have been funny. That would have been amazing.
That would have been the best.
But it was like so much setup for the past 2 seasons, and then it just fizzled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was that big 4th of July thing that you're waiting for, and then you get a dud. Like, that's how it's felt.
Yeah.
The whole member berries thing,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm gonna just say it. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm already fucking tired of people saying it already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I'm seeing it all the time online now as it's a normal thing to say, and it's really aggravating.
Yeah.
But nothing happened from that
Yeah, so...
at all.
So if you haven't seen it and you're actually listening to this, like, there's this whole thing with, like, these things called member berries, which are these little blueberry-looking things that, like, out of fucking nowhere are just a thing people have. And it basically, when you eat them, it makes you nostalgic for your childhood. And they have this weird little voice, and it tells you to remember things. It's mostly Star Wars things.
Well, that's what pissed me off. When it first started, it was a bunch of different stuff. They were talking about a variety of different things. Mm-hmm. And then as the season went on, all it was Star Wars references, where they would say, remember Greedo, remember Jawas. That's all it was. Mm-hmm. But I remember they were saying stuff like Ghostbusters and
RoboCop and all these things from the 80s, essentially.
I think they were talking about like Reagan and stuff like this, and then it just devolved into Star Wars references.
Right.
And I think that's dumb as fuck.
Well, my only explanation for that is that because basically the first half of this season is Mr. Garrison trying to not, because he kind of comes to the realization that he would be a horrible president and that people should not be voting for him because he would basically fuck the country up. So he like spends half of the season trying to convince his supporters not to vote for him by just saying the worst things, but that actually just gets him more popular because they like that he tells it as it is, as actual Trump supporters did. But then it's like he actually gets elected, and like he goes to talk to Stan's dad, who I guess had a thing with the member berries, but then he gets off of them and then starts a support group for people who are suffering from using them.
That was the thing too. They had this whole scene where it was a body snatchers thing, and then nothing was explained from that, like, at all. He just people were vomiting in each other's face.
Oh yeah,
with these berries.
Yeah,
and nothing happened from that. No explanation. Nothing.
Right.
That's what kind of pissed me off about the season. It seems like they shit the bed on it. Mm-hmm. They didn't know what to do after the election.
Right. Well, what I was gonna say about the Star Wars thing is that Mr. Mr. Garrison goes to Stan's dad's support group thing, and like Randy like says he's figured out why people like want to vote for Garrison is because of these fucking berries, because I guess Garrison, the way he talks, makes them like feel nostalgic or something. And basically his whole point was that like people don't want to admit that the new Star Wars wasn't that great.
Yeah, to me it felt like it started off with that, like they were doing other stuff with the member berries, and then they took the whole season to just shit on Star Wars.
Right.
And that's what it had become.
Well, I mean, it's jumping ahead a little bit, but I think that the member berries thing is going to be a plot for next season, assuming that they're going to keep doing this whole serialized plot thing, because like at the very end of the season, like the last episode, they have the whole, like all the member berries are like with Garrison in the White House, so it's like I'm sure they're like secretly trying to take over America or the world or whatever.
Something.
So,
it just seems like that's a lot of setup for like.
Oh, it totally is. There's a lot of setup, and it's not a lot of payoff.
And that's what it should be. Like the last episode of the season should be like a great finale, a lot of payoff and stuff, but it still felt like a fizzle.
Right. It's like it felt like, hey, come back next season to figure out how this all plays out, and it's like, well, you're just gonna keep doing that every season, just like. Is it gonna be like Lost, which I never watched, which I heard was just like it's just plot thread after plot thread that never gets resolved. I mean, there's this whole thing where Cartman is trying to get off the planet because he doesn't. He has this whole thing with he wants to colonize. He wants to be part of the colonization of Mars. I don't remember why he wanted it to be that, but they go to SpaceX with Elon Musk, which I learned is actually Elon Musk. Like that's.
I wouldn't doubt it. It didn't.
No, I looked
like
it up.
a
It's his
voice actor
actual
to me.
voice. That's like he was actually voicing himself, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, it didn't sound like a voice actor because they used like one lady for all the women and
Right. Yeah, that's what
Stuff like
I was
that.
thinking. It's like this sounds way too like off their normal group of voice actors for the thing, and it's like, oh no, they actually got Elon Musk to voice himself, which is really funny.
he was in The Simpsons like a season or two ago.
Yeah, well,
Whatever.
like for The Simpsons, it's just normal for them to get celebrity voices, but like South Park pretty much is just Matt and Trey doing voices.
Well, they had like George Clooney do his dog and stuff.
Right. I mean,
I think it was.
they sometimes do it like as a joke. Like George Clooney was in the South Park movie as the Doctor. I guess Bill Hader has been on South Park a few times, and I guess he's a guest writer sometimes. I thought that was weird. Fuck, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so they have this whole thing where they're trying to go to Mars, and then I guess that kind of does wrap it up, because they're Sweden's trying to build this giant troll tracker website, and they're trying to get it shut down because it gets turned on for one town in America, and it basically it destroys the town. Like everyone, it's based like The Walking Dead in their town, so much they have to quarantine them off. But basically, like the whole last half of the season, they're trying to shut this thing down, and in the last episode, the way they're gonna stop the troll tracker website is by trolling people, because they're gonna get so many people using the internet that it shuts it down.
Yeah.
But I guess Cartman's girlfriend, through motivation, I guess, develops this new energy that would get people to Mars, but they reroute that power into the internet to destroy it, I guess.
Well, she used emoji analysis on it.
God. That was the fucking stupidest thing in the whole thing. That didn't make any goddamn sense. She's like trying to solve this complex rocket science formula, and she's all like, well, I don't understand this. So she just starts replacing all the numbers with emojis, and I guess that makes it make sense to her. It's just fucking stupid. So yeah, the entire season here ends with the internet being destroyed. The internet, they're just rebuilding the internet at the end of it. And the fucking last joke of this season I felt was so stupid. Because it's like,
It made me laugh.
I mean, I laughed, but it was like, oh my god, really? That's what you're gonna end on? Kind of laugh. But it's like, it's like back in the early days, like the first person to send an email, we know who the first person to send an email was, and then they had a joke in here is like, who this first guy is the first person to send an email on the new internet, and the first things he sends is a dick pic.
Sent a picture of his dick. Called him a fag.
Sent a picture of my dick and called him a fag. Because it's like, of course, it's like, even with this new internet, everyone gets a clean slate, and people just are never going to change. We're all just going to send dick pics to each other. So yeah, that's the general gist of this season. It's about trolling and nostalgia, essentially. Like you said, Kyle, like there's that whole Member Berry's body snatcher subplot that still has not been resolved, and it's
yeah. Well, I read that they had to change a bunch from. I even screenshotted it, but it would take a while to find on my computer.
Right.
But they said that they had seen what the plots were gonna be, and I was like, oh well, see, now that kind of makes sense, but it didn't after the election change, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really care for it. The series. What am I trying to say here?
I don't know.
Serializing it.
Yeah.
It works. It doesn't. I don't like. As a viewer, I don't like a giant overall mystery going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care for that too much because it's just like we just waited the whole season and shit's still not answered.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work.
Well, that's the thing I wanted to get into with the second part of this episode is that a lot of shows are leaning towards serializing their plots, where every week each episode carries into the next one. And some shows do it really well. Like Steven Universe does it well. Gravity Falls did it pretty well. Like, I like these if cartoons are going to do it, I like it where the episodes can still be standalone, but there's elements that are carried over. I don't think I was thinking about this earlier. I don't think cartoons lend themselves very well to plots that roll right into one another as much. Because cartoons are generally like a half hour long. So, at least in
more like 22 minutes long.
Right. You know what I mean. But like live action shows generally are like an hour long. So they have time to develop like a good story for that hour so it can seem like it's standalone but still carry on to the next one. Whereas cartoons, you're like trying to cram a story into 22 minutes, but still have it carry through the entire season. And I think South Park the most has this problem because it's serialized and it's so week to week in its production schedule. Because like we were saying, this season felt like it was leading up, like it had material written for Hillary Clinton to win, but when she didn't, they had to basically rewrite the entire season, which I think led to it kind of falling apart.
Because I'm reading, they just had to change a few lines, and it's like, no, I don't think that's what happened.
No, because I
think they had to change a lot more than a couple lines.
Because if Hillary would won, they wouldn't have the whole subplot with Garrison going to the Pentagon and like trying to avert or cause global war. That wouldn't have been a
or them getting like double crossed and sent over there.
Right? Yeah, there wouldn't have been the whole thing where Hillary Clinton tricks the trolls into going over to Sweden as secret agents or whatever to get trapped. That wouldn't have been a thing. So yeah, it's completely shifted the entire second half of the season just because they choose to be topical, which it can work really well for them, because I remember like a couple of years ago, when they had the episode where Barack won the president, they just happened to be right. So that really worked for them. And even I think they've even gone on record saying that even if he didn't win, they would have just played that episode anyway.
I thought they said that they made the same episode twice or something like that.
Everything I've heard has said like if McCain or Romney would have won, I don't remember which one it was, would have won, they would have just played the episode anyway. But because back then South Park was so episodic still, it was fine if they just had a revisionist history episode where Barack won. It didn't matter. But the fact that the winner of the presidential election was so hinged to the plot of the season, I mean, when the outcome that you had expected and written things for, that's not what happened, and you got to rewrite everything, and because they're on such a tight schedule as it is, I mean, anything that they had pre-written, I mean, they basically had to throw out, I'm assuming.
I'm not really too fond of the whole topical stuff, because when you watch older seasons, just like, oh fuck, that was a thing, like T-bowing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really topical. People T-bow all the fucking time now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it starts showing age, and I think that's kind of a reason why watching Animaniacs is kind of, it's hard to watch now, because it's like, hey, Bill Clinton, that was a thing. Remember Ross Perot? And it's like,
yeah,
fuck, this is super old.
Yeah, I've been feeling that way kind of for a long time on South Park. It's like, sometimes I think the being topical thing can really work, because there's like this big funny thing that's happening in the media, and they can immediately comment on that, and sometimes it works really well. But like you're saying, if you go back to any of those episodes, especially years after that thing's happened, it really doesn't make any sense anymore. Because like, oh yeah, that was a thing. It's because things move so fast now, with like what's funny, what's political, or whatever, everything just moves so fast now. It's great that they have such a tight schedule that they can comment on it at the time, but as soon as you go back to it, it doesn't hold the same impact as it did at the time.
I think one of my favorite jokes ever is in the Earthworm Jim cartoon, and Psychro's he tries to kidnap the president so he can become president. Mm-hmm. And he jumps through the door, and he's like, all right, this is what's gonna happen. And then he's like, who the hell are you? And he's like, oh, I'm just a generic president, so we keep the show from looking dated. And it's like, that's fucking hilarious.
I need to go back.
Watch a lot of.
I need to rewatch that.
Earthworm Jim is a fucking treasure. It is such a great show.
That is your jam.
It is my jam. But yeah, like I was saying with Animaniacs, even like watching The Critic right now, they're talking about Ross Perot, they're talking about like Ed Kosh and stuff like this. It's like, who the fuck are these people? 20 years from now, not a lot of people are gonna know who that is.
Right. No, I'm completely with you.
It's just
like,
it's just weird doing these.
Like,
oh, go on.
Well, what I was gonna say is that like I like watching older South Park. Like, I don't know how far back exactly, but like the earlier seasons, because we're on season 20 right now. I mean, South Park's been on the air for 20-ish years, but I like watching those older episodes because they're not tied to anything specific. Like, they may make an offhand reference to something in topical at the time, but because back then episodes took longer to make, I like that they resorted to, instead of being like a parody or satire commentary show, it was just like a stupid story about children doing vulgar things. Like, I fucking love the episode where they have the war reenactment and they basically have a drunken pillage through the entire west of the United States.
Marshmallow schnapps.
It's s'more schnapps. It makes me want s'more schnapps, but it's like shit like that. It's like I love those early episodes where it was just like this stupid plot about the boys doing something dumb, or like just the town of South Park being dumb like it is, but it wasn't tied to like, oh, here's this celebrity that's popular in the media, or here's this like thing that happened recently. We're gonna make a South Park commentary version of it.
See that's the funniest fuck thing. So with South Park, they have the absolute freedom to do stuff like this, and it works for them.
Mm-hmm.
It works in the sense that we watch it right now. Whatever's going on is what's going on. It's funny. Now, when you go to a show like The Simpsons, and they're like, "Oh, here's a parody on this," and it's like that movie came out 3 years ago, and it's coming out right now like it's a new thing.
Yeah.
Well, it takes like a couple years to make just one episode. So whenever they make the fucking reference, it's already done and over with.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people have problems on their Halloween episodes.
Yeah, and
I think they even made a joke about it once. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna do the Black Swan parody." They're like, "That's been out for a while already."
yeah. I mean, I brought this up when we were talking about the Nicktoons a couple weeks ago, which I found out is actually one of our highest rated episodes now. I did not.
That works.
It's like in our top 5, which is weird. I did not expect it to be that popular. I think it's because we had all the good shows that week. But I mentioned it like I watched like a new episode of Fairly Odd Parents, and they made like a Duck Lips joke, and like that joke was like funny 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly what I'm talking about.
But I'm thinking about it now, and like what I was saying about how like media moves so fast. I mean South Park can do these.
Perfect example, the new Powerpuff Girls. They're like, "Look at my cell phone," and it's like, "Can I has cheeseburger?"
Oh,
and it's like, holy shit, that was like 2002.
Rage face.
You're making
Rage face humor was like freshman year college.
2012,
right?
dude.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, and that's the thing, like, because I feel like because there's so much media now, and there's so much we consume and watch every day. Like South Park can make these topical jokes and be timely with their references and stuff, but like I don't remember the last time I've actually gone back and watched a modern South Park episode. Like, I mean, I have before, and like had that thought where like, oh, these references are really dated now, and it really dates the show. But I think it's the fact that the show is only on once a year. It's on for 10 weeks. It makes these jokes, and then we just move on to the next thing. So it's like we're not really thinking about, how dated these episodes are going to be, like immediately after they air. Like it's only really funny when it airs because that thing is happening at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I mean, most recently I could think of it was the whole planking and T-bowing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's already like super dated. That was only a couple years back.
Right. And like last year they had the whole shit, what was I gonna say? I lost it, sorry. But so thinking about next season of South Park, because I think they're guaranteed up to like 23 or 24 right now. And Trey and Matt have said they'll keep making South Park as long as Comedy Central keeps paying for it, essentially.
What's interesting is I've seen the past 2 seasons. Trey Parker has written and directed every single episode for the past 2 seasons.
Oh, he's been doing that for a while.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, Matt Stone just does voices. I think he might like help with writing, but like the main writing is on Trey Parker.
I didn't know that. It's like how Dilworth directed every single episode of Courage.
Right.
If you haven't noticed that.
Oh yeah, that's I mean, some people like just know. Like, I feel like if I had a cartoon, I would kind of be like that. Like, I would totally be up everyone's ass trying to like, no, it needs to be like this. I think the story needs to go this way. Blah blah blah. I'd be horrible to work with. I feel bad for anybody who has to work with me. But so I'm thinking ahead to next season, and I'm wondering if they're really gonna keep this serialization up, because I noticed that the last episode is actually called "The End of Serialization." Like the episode title.
So.
Like, well, that's what they titled the episode. So I'm wondering if they're gonna go back to being episodic next year. But if they do, that's weird because they have a bunch of dangling plot threads that need resolved.
True. I just think that they're not gonna bother with it. I think they're just gonna move on from the hanging plot threads, really. But because I remember, I want to say back in 2012, they had that whole episode where everybody thought it was gonna be the end of the series.
Which one?
It was where Stan got diagnosed with Asperger's or something like that.
Oh.
And everybody changed. You don't remember that one?
Oh, yeah, the one where his parents got a divorce.
Yes.
And then they like
everybody.
Yeah, because I think that was when they were still taking like mid-season breaks, and they're like, okay, this is where we're gonna cut it off right here, and there's a big cliffhanger where his parents are getting divorced, and then in the fall they immediately get back together. But
yeah, it was like the saddest fucking thing, though. Everybody thought that was gonna be the last episode.
They played landslides. It was depressing.
It really was depressing.
Yeah, I thought it's like I feel like they're gonna like start changing South Park, and there's like this could be like the last, like they're winding down or whatever. But nope, they've been going strong for a couple of years after that, and they'll keep going. But I mean, it's gonna be really weird if they decide to go back to being episodic next year, because they've got the whole Member Mary's Body Snatchers plot that needs resolved, and like it's gonna be weird if they don't even address the whole fallout from like the world got a refresh on the internet. Like nothing we've ever done on the internet exists anymore. Which you know kind of leads a lot of interesting questions. Like we gotta rebuild like everything. Like we gotta rebuild Facebook, and we gotta rebuild Wikipedia, and basically all of human knowledge has to be rewritten again.
Yeah.
So it'll be real weird if they just choose not to address any of that.
I swear they're not gonna address anything, dude.
I don't know, because it would be weird if they don't, because it's like there's all these big questions, and it just goes back to life as normal next September or whenever the fuck it airs.
That's probably what's gonna happen. They're just gonna go headfirst into the next thing.
I mean, I guess next year we'll do another episode and see if they did or not, but because it's weird. Like on the one hand, I want them to go back to being episodic, just once a week, short little things, whatever. I don't have to watch week to week to know what's going on. But on the other hand, it's like I want to know what happened with all this stuff you brought up. So I don't know. It's weird, man. It's weird. I don't get it.
So that noise signified that I'm done downloading the new Justice League cartoon.
Neato.
Just to let you guys know. I'm sure the computer picked it up.
We'll talk about Justice League action on a future episode, I'm sure. But so I guess the whole thing to take away from this is that like a lot of shows can.
I think the whole thing to take away from it is that Beyonce is just a Taylor Swift ripoff.
What? How did you get that from what we were talking about?
That's what he says. How do you piss off a lot of black people? And he's like, that's what you gotta say.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Kyle's trying to get everyone on the internet to start hating each other, so he just calls everybody. It's like he asked Token what's a thing to say to black people to piss them off. He asked Jimmy what's a thing to get crippled people pissed off. What's the thing to piss off gay people? And oh fuck, we never even talked about Mr. Slave coming back for like an episode.
He was in an episode. He's not even that like big of a character. He was in the game as like a summon, but that was it.
He went inside his butthole.
Yeah.
I like Stick of Truth. That was a fun game.
I want to play it, but I'm waiting for the new game to come out because I think it's like a pre-order bonus. You just get the whole game.
Yeah, and it makes me mad because it's not. They finally stopped making things for the older consoles. I don't have a PS4 or an Xbone, so I've got a PS3 and a 360 and a Wii U. So and the
I got a PS4. It's a Netflix machine.
The Netflix that I pay for.
Yeah. I've been wanting to get Dead Rising 1 and 2. Man, those are good games.
Yeah.
Remade on the PS4? Fuck. I want to play those games again.
Oh, jeez. Well,
I know it's like really off subject. It's just I'm more of a handheld gamer than a console gamer.
No. Well, we can talk about that off mic, but yeah, this season South Park,
They shit the bed. Just shit everywhere.
See, that's the thing. I'm not wanting to declare that the season was bad. I do think the ending was really weak, and I think it had some problems. I got a lot of really genuine laughs out of it. I still think South Park is funny. But I think the new format they've been adopting the last year or two, I don't know if it wholly works for them. Because there's...
It wasn't bad. It was just, a lot of stuff was left unanswered.
Yeah.
And then the whole, final showdown was basically like Star Wars 2. I don't know if you caught that, but...
Yeah, I did notice that they had, Kyle's dad and the actual troll had, a big catwalk fight, and it was basically a joke on episode 7.
Yeah.
I did pick that up. Yeah, so...
But yeah, J.J. Abrams was never discussed
they mentioned
anymore.
J.J. Abrams, the first 2 episodes, and then never bring it up again.
Yeah.
Because they
was
they
another
say that,
plot point.
Yeah, they said,
dropped.
J.J. Abrams is, the cause of the member berries or whatever. And it's just never addressed again.
Yeah. I swear that's on that little thing I read that I screenshot, but...
Yeah, you need to send me that, because I want to know, what they had originally planned to do.
We'll post it on the site.
Sure, let's do that. But, yeah, I'm still processing this. I'll feel about it later. I don't know. But, well, Kyle, do you have anything else to say on this matter?
Nah,
okay.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks everybody for listening. I hope you don't hate us too much for shitting on South Park a little bit this week. Like I said, I didn't hate it completely. South Park is still really funny, and I got a lot of laughs out of it. I just have some concerns.
I didn't hate it either. I just, if anything, I hate people always talking about member berries.
Yeah.
I hate that that's now a normal thing to say.
Thing. Ugh. Well, come back next week where we'll be doing a Christmas episode, because that'll be our... This year is weird because we'll be putting out our episode... we'll be putting out an episode the day after Christmas, but it won't be the Christmas episode. And last year we did a whole month of Christmas, but I kind of feel burnt out when we do a whole month for a holiday, like we did for Halloween. We kind of did that this year, but not as much as we did last year.
True.
Anywho, so yeah, come back next week where we'll talk about something Christmas that we haven't really decided yet.
You said any hoozles?
Any hoozles.
That's pretty funny.
Shut up. You don't know me.
I'm sorry.
Alright, guys. Well, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next week. Say goodbye, Kyle.
Boy.
You're sad. You didn't say bye, Kyle.
No, I'm sorry.
Thank you for listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. If you like this episode, remember to share it, leave a comment, write a review, tell your mom, all that good stuff. Also, be sure to follow the show on Facebook where we post animation news and discussion topics daily. Thanks again, and we will see you in the next episode.